Who are the most important people in your life? And what would you do to make sure that they continue to be part of your life? In other words, are you ready to cling to the people around you? And what is the difference between clinging and just really caring about the people around you? It's not wrong to love your friends and family. You just need to always be prepared to let them go.
Hi, it's Margaret Maloney, and welcome to the Death Dhamma podcast. I'm a Buddhist practitioner out here in the world, having experienced the loss of my loved ones and knowing how much my Buddhist practice helped me on my grief journey. And now, together we have this safe space to discuss death, dying, grief, and the Buddhist teachings that help us really understand attachment, impermanence, being compassionate, being death ready, and what it means to live a life so that we can have a peaceful death. Yep, it's a big topic, and we're going to take it on together. Let's go.
Behind the scenes, I've been working on something that brings together seasons 3 and seasons 4 of the Death Dhamma podcast. It's a journal about clinging and aversion, meant to help us really think through what do we cling to, what do we push away, and why. And hopefully that journal will be ready in October. And this is 2024, so depending on when you're listening, October 2024. I, of course, will let you all know as listeners when it is ready. And I thought today I would just share a section of that journal with you. And the section I'm sharing with you today is all about people. A common myth around Buddhism and attachment is the idea that you are not supposed to love or need other people. This is not true. Maybe this myth comes from the monastic lives of monks and nuns. They choose celibacy and they leave their families to live the holy life. Some may dwell independently away from others, spending their time in solitary meditation. Most live in a community with other monastics. They form friendships and they depend on one another. With that thought in mind, maybe pause this right now or note this question and come back to it later, whatever works best for you, and list up to 7 of the most important people in your life. And for each one, note why he, she, or they are important to you. Be honest. No one is looking but you. For example, I once had a friend and I realized that she was important to me because when I visited her, I could relax. I felt cared for in a way that I didn't feel perhaps with other people and perhaps when I was just on my own. Our relationships with others are critical for our well-being. We need other people to help us on our path. How do you develop loving kindness and compassion and generosity and patience without others? Your interactions with others can be a core part of your mindfulness practice. Mindfulness helps you to discern why you are attached to a person or a relationship and whether or not you're being skillful. We are not eliminating connections. We seek to get rid of unskillful attachments. Clinging is the mark of an unskillful attachment. Revisit your list of those most important people in your life. Okay, so either write this down or pause and take a break and do this now. So revisit that list and now note what you have done or would do to keep them as part of your life. Move across the country, break up with your other friends or family. Also note how big of a loss it will be when this relationship ends. Remember, it's not wrong that you love or that to lose someone would feel devastating. Your purpose right now is to create awareness. So often death or change comes and we are left unprepared, wondering, how will I live without my partner or my mother or my father or my best friend? If you feel ready, consider meditating on a scenario where one of the most important people on your list is gone. They die, move away, or you break up. Sit with what it feels like for that person to be absent from your life. If this becomes too stressful, stop and send thoughts of loving kindness to yourself. There are people in your life whom you avoid. So this is the aversion part. If someone has been harmful or abusive to you, it makes sense that you will stay away. With aversion to people, you want to look at the amount of effort you expend to avoid them. So right now, again, I'm asking you to either write this question for later or pause and consider it now. Who are some of the people you avoid, and why do you avoid them? And after you complete that, review that list. Is there anyone on the list who, upon reflection, is not worth the effort that it takes to avoid them? Some final thoughts on our connections. My parents had a family friend who was terminally ill. As it got closer to his time of death, his wife suspected that he was having a hard time letting go. He had many siblings. Some of them were able to be by his side in the dying process, but some were not. And his wife realized that maybe what he needed was to say goodbye. And so she called each of the missing siblings and put the phone up to his ear. And miraculously, she was able to get everyone on the phone. And just a few minutes after he finished the last phone call, her husband took his last breath and died peacefully. Okay, so last question for you to consider, either now or to contemplate later. If you were dying, who would you want to speak to before you drew your last breath?
I've got books for you, starting with Carpooling with Death, How Living with Death Will Make You Stronger, Wiser, and Fearless, the book that got me going and helped me to discuss going through the death of my loved ones, followed by Sitting with Death, Buddhist insights to help you face your fears and live a peaceful life, based on Season 1 of the Death Dhamma podcast, and just recently, Enlightenment Unleashed, how your pet can lead you to spiritual transformation, because during our lifetime, we may see the rising and ceasing of many pets, and we love them like they are our family. Find these on Amazon.com or come see me at MargaretMaloney.com. You've been listening to the Death Dhamma podcast with your host, Margaret Maloney. Thank you so much for being here. Come find me on MargaretMaloney.com, MargaretMeloni.com. And until we meet again, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be at ease, and may you be free from suffering. Bye for now.